Okay, Rabotai, we're going to start chapter 20. But before, I just want to do quick revision what we study, and then we start. At the beginning of verse 20, we spoke about that David HaMelech saying to Yonatan, listen, my dad want to kill me. And Yonatan said to him, I don't understand, what are you talking about? I spoke to my dad, and my dad told me that he doesn't want to harm you. And David HaMelech said to him, listen, not everything. I need to, there is some noise at the back. Let me just check. I need to see where's the noise coming. I need to mute it. Okay, everyone, now muted except Jeffrey, yes. And David HaMelech said to Yonatan, listen, it doesn't mean that your dad tell you everything. Although that you think so, but you then don't want to hurt your feeling. So then they make the agreement that they're going to do a test, so that Rosh Chodesh we spoke. But then David HaMelech say we have to be careful that we're not going to speak Lashon Hara. Okay, so how are we going to know? They make arrangement that they're going to shoot the arrow, and that's what we're going to learn today. So we reach to verse 20, chapter 20, verse 20. That's where we're going to start. Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach, ve'Hashem alenu, berachamav yarviach. Okay. ואני, שלושת החצים צידה האורה, לשלוח לי למטרה.
I will shoot 3 arrows in that direction as if I was shooting at a target.
Okay, what's happening here? In this verse, the prophet explained that Yonatan now saying to David how they're going to do the test. I'm going to shoot 3 arrows, okay? Towards you, the target, it means you. Towards the target, wherever you hiding, okay? And I'm going to pretend like I'm going to practice shooting the bow and the arrow, okay? And that's going to be straight after Seudat Rosh Chodesh. Why after Seudat Rosh Chodesh? I'm going to shoot 3 arrows towards your area, and by that I'm going to shoot the arrow, that's going to be a sign that we spoke and like we're going to speak now. But the question is that the Mefarshim ask, why dafka 3 arrows Yonatan going to shoot? If you're going to practice, you should shoot more than 3, not only 3 arrows. When person go to practice shooting, I don't think that he shoot 3 bullets and go back. Okay, you have to shoot certain amount to feel the grip, to get used to it. Why did Yonatan and David agree about 3 arrows that you're going to shoot? So the Mefarshim explain like this. Hazal tell us in a Gemara in Masechet Arachim, page 15, folio 2. Lashon hara horeget 3, like we explained in a previous show. Lashon hara, when a person speaks Lashon hara actually harming 3 people. Who is it harming? It's harming the person that talk the Lashon hara, a person that they spoke about him, and the 3rd one is the person that listening to the Lashon hara. Said David HaMelech, if you remember in a previous show, we're going to shoot arrow because we're not going to speak Lashon hara. We're going to make the sign with 3 arrows to make sure that we're not going to speak Lashon hara about your father, Shaul. And that's why they decide to take 3 arrows. That's why David HaMelech and Shaul decide that the test going to be with 3 arrows towards the hiding place where David going to hide in the field. In verse 21, Here the prophet actually explained that how is David HaMelech actually going to realize what's going to happen? Is Shaul want to kill him or not? Look what it says. והנה, אשלח את הנער, לך, מצא את החיצים, אם אמור לנער, אם אמור לנער, הנה החיצים ממך והנה, קחנו, ובואה, כי שלום לך, ואין דבר חי אדוני.
Behold, I will then send the lad, saying, go find the arrows. If I say to the lad, behold, the arrows are on this side of you, then you yourself may take the arrows and return, for it is well with you, and is no concern, as Hashem lives.
What's happening there? Here, Jonathan is saying to David HaMelech, listen, when I'm going to shoot the arrow, and I'm going to tell the servant, please run, go and fetch the arrow. If I see that the son, that child, the servant ran too far, and I'm going to say to him, listen, the arrow, you run too far from the arrow. Come close to me. The arrow is close to me. It's a sign to you that everything is okay. You have nothing to be worried. Maded have no grudge against you. He doesn't want to harm you. It's a sign to you that you can come back, okay? And I want you to understand that I'm taking an oath in the name of the Almighty that that's going to be only after I spoke to Maded, I tried to understand what's hiding behind it, or like after basically he interrogate, that Jonathan interrogate Shaul, is he want to kill David or not? In verse 22, listen to that, what he said. Imko mar la'elem, now he changed the name. Instead of calling him Nar, okay, the servant, he called him Elem. הנה החיצים ממך והלאה, לך, כי שלחך אדוני.
But if I say this to the boy, behold, the arrows are beyond you, then go, for this is a signal that Hashem has sent you away.
Okay, what's happening here? If you look here, he doesn't call him anymore now. He call him Elem. We'll explain why that he suddenly decide, will bring the opinion of the Malbin, why he call him Elem. What's happening here? The prophet here described and telling us that Jonathan saying to David, if I see that Maded want to kill you, and he really mean to harm you, I'm going to shoot the arrow far, and I'm going to say to the son, listen, the arrow is far from you. That's going to be a sign from you that Shaul HaMelech want to kill you, Maded want to kill you, and it's a sign for you that you must escape very fast and very far. But you have to understand, if that's what's going to happen, that's the wish of the Almighty. That's shut of the Dvarim. The Malbin says something very important. The Malbin explained that, and he asked actually the question, how come that David called that child, or that boy, or that servant, Elem? Why suddenly Elem?
Jonathan or David?
Sorry?
Didn't Jonathan call him that?
Jonathan, sorry. Why did Jonathan call the servant Elem on this verse? Said the Malbin something very important. He said that by that he changed the name, and he called him Ilm. It means that that was part of the signal to David HaMelech, that if he gonna call him Ilm, that he must leave quickly. That means that that he gonna call him Ilm to that boy. David HaMelech have to understand that he have to run away to escape, and he must escape very fast and very far, because his father Shaul want to kill David HaMelech. So that means that if we look at it and we'll understand that even David HaMelech and Yonatan make between them a sign by shooting the arrow, that's going to be another thing, another technical thing. That if Yonatan going to call the servant Ilm, David HaMelech have to understand that he's in very high danger and he must escape immediately and very far. The arrow is one sign, but the Ilm mean that you have to leave immediately, to escape immediately. Don't wait, don't take a chance. Okay? That's how the Malbim explained. Let's go to verse 23. And the prophet said like this, והדבר אשר דיברנו, אני ואתה, הנה אדוני ביני ובינך עד עולם.
But this matter of which we have spoken, I and you, behold, Hashem remains witness between me and you forever.
On a pshat of the dvarim, Yonatan saying to David, listen, the covenant that we have between us, okay? The Almighty, He's the witness for it. That's pshat of the dvarim. But the Malbim explained that there is something here that Yonatan saying to David. He said, David, you have to understand something very important. That I don't want you to come out of your hiding place. Okay, because by that if you're going to come from your hiding place, there's a danger. It means that if you're going to come out of your hiding place, there's a danger to you and to me. Why? Because then people know that we make the covenant. We make that plan. Okay? And they will say that I know where you're hiding. And that's what it means, the covenant. The covenant between us, pshat of the dvarim, is the covenant. But what it's trying to say to David, said the Malbim, that don't leave your hiding place. Because that's going to put me and you in danger. My father going to say, listen, you planned it with David. And that's what he said to him. By that he said the covenant and don't come out. And the Almighty going to be between us. In verse 24, here the prophet say like this, ויסתר דוד בשדה, ויהי החודש, וישב המלך על הלחם לאכול. It say, actually it should say, אל הלחם לאכול, it's written al, but it said there in bracket, kari, that means to read it, אל הלחם לאכול. Let's see what it says, what's the pshat of the dvarim.
David concealed himself in the field. It was the new moon, and the king sat at the meal to eat.
Okay, what's happening here? The prophet telling us that David hiding already before Rosh Chodesh. He gone and hidden himself already before Rosh Chodesh. And when Rosh Chodesh came, King Shaul came to the normal seudah that he make, and that, by the way, just for general knowledge, before I forget, this is the first source that there is a source to do Saudat Rosh Chodesh, to make a Saudah. Saudah is with the bread. This is the first source to Saudat Rosh Chodesh from Shaul HaMelech. Here, Yonatan saying to David, please hide in a field, and David listened to him. Before Rosh Chodesh, he already hid. And then Shaul obviously came to his usual Saudah that he used to make. In verse 25, it says like this, וישב המלך על מושבו כפעם, בפעם, אל מושב הקיר, ויקום יונתן, וישב אבנר מצד שאול, ויפקוד מקום דוד. What's happening? בכבוד.
The king sat at his seat, as at other times, at the seat by the wall. Jonathan stood up, and Abner sat at Saul's side, and David's seat was empty.
Okay, what's happening here? There's different interpretation what's happening in this verse, the order where they used to sit. I just want to basically give some, before we start to explaining the verse, I just want to explain something. At that time, they didn't have chair. They never used to sit in chair and table to eat. They used to have bed, and on the bed they used to sit like lying down. They used to eat like lying down. They like bowing a bit more or tinting themselves more to the left. Shaul, according to one opinion, the bed of Shaul was right against the wall. Okay? But from there, each one was on a side of Shaul, not right next to him. Different opinion, and we'll explain that. The Metzudot David explained the order how they used to sit. He explained that Shaul HaMelech used to sit first. Then, next to him, okay, on his right-hand side, David HaMelech used to sit, okay? After that used to sit Yonatan, and after that used to sit Avner, Saratzava. That means if you look at the long line, Shaul, David, Yonatan, and Avner. And then the rest of the people. Okay? That's according to Metzudot David, Rabbi David Altshela. He born in Galicia 326 years ago. The Mahari Kara, Rabbi Yosef Kara, he born in France 960 years ago. He explained the order differently. He explained like this, that Shaul used to sit right in the head, on his right-hand side, David HaMelech, on the left-hand side, Yonatan used to sit. And then, next to him used to sit who? Avner. So we see here already two different opinions. The Radak, Rabbi David Kimhi, he born also in France. He born 865 years ago. He explained that the main reason that if you look that Yonatan didn't want to sit in a seat of David HaMelech, because not only that he didn't sit in David HaMelech's seat, he didn't want to sit in his own seat. The Radak explained. Why? What's happened here? He said that Yonatan, although that he didn't 100% believe to David HaMelech that his father want to kill him, he was have a bit of a worried. Why? Because he was worried by that he gonna say to his father that he given a permission to David HaMelech to go to Bethlehem, to spend Rosh Chodesh with his family. Maybe his father gonna be angry and he's gonna do something strange. Okay? What the verse and the prophet telling us that the place of David was empty. Okay, let's look at verse 26. ולא דיבר שאול מאומה ביום ההוא, כי אמר, מקרה הוא, בלתי טהור הוא, כי לא טהור.
Saul said nothing on that day, for he thought, it is a coincidence. He must be impure, for he has not been cleansed.
Watch it. In this verse, that the prophet explained that Shaul took notice that David HaMelech didn't come, but he didn't say a word to anyone. He didn't ask Jonathan, where is David HaMelech? He didn't say a word why David HaMelech didn't come to Sauda. And we have to understand what's happening. The prophet tells us that Shaul thought that David HaMelech is not pure. Remember the word not pure. And then he said that on the first day he can't cleanse, because a person cleanses just before the evening, and then the following day is pure. We have to understand what it's not pure and pure. I will explain. Sometimes when a person have the wasted seed, they have to go to the mikvah in daytime because they have the tabernacle, and he couldn't eat with them. Why he couldn't eat with them? Because Shaul used to eat, the Mefarshim explain, basar shlamim in his sauda. And if someone has b'shalom is a tameh, unpure, you're going to make all the meat, all the basar shlamim, the basar of the korban, unpure. So then they can't. So Shaul HaMelech said to himself, maybe David HaMelech is not pure, and he didn't have a chance to cleanse himself. He's going to cleanse himself today, and tomorrow he'll be in the feast. That, according to the pshat of the Torah. But look how the Radak, I'm going to bring another 3 different interpretations, except what Rashi said, that he wasn't clean and he didn't cleanse himself, and he didn't have a chance to go to the mikvah. The Radak explained like this: because Shaul HaMelech was eating basar shlamim, Shaul was worried that if David HaMelech will be in a sauda and he's going to touch the basar shlamim, going to make all the meat unpure. That's the Radak. Come the Malbin and explain no. The Malbin says something extraordinary. He said that Shaul HaMelech was suspicious of David, that he saw caring, he was unpure. Why? Because Shaul hated David. And all the time, Shaul was thinking about David bad fault. You always look at David like it's not right. David all the time doing the wrong thing. And that's why, said the prophet, that Shaul was thinking that David is unpure. The Ralbag, Rabbi Levy ben Gershom, he born also in Italy. He born 737 years ago. He said like this, that what the prophet tried to tell us here, that maybe Shaul was thinking, it's a coincidence, David HaMelech didn't come to Sauda, okay? Because he's unpure, it can happen. But after he cleans himself, he will come. That means there is different opinion what it means tahor. Why the prophet said that Shaul HaMelech said that David HaMelech is impure. One opinion, well, according to the Pshat. Another opinion, that he have in his mind all the time thought that David HaMelech not 100%. He actually hated David HaMelech. And that's what all the time he have a bad thought about David HaMelech. He always thinking that David HaMelech is making him cross because he hated David. Another opinion that we brought, that the Radak bringing, that he was worried that if David HaMelech is impure, he's going to make the meat that they're eating impure. And David HaMelech didn't want to do that. That's why he didn't come. Okay, let's look at verse 27. And now we're talking about the Sauda, what's really happened. ויהי ממחרת החודש השני, ויפקד מקום דוד, ויאמר שאול אל יונתן בנו, מדוע לא בא בן ישי, גם תמול, גם היום אל הלחם.
It was the day after the new moon, Chodesh, the second day of the month, and David's place was empty. So Saul said to Jonathan his son, why did the son of Jesse not come to the meal either yesterday or today?
In this verse, the prophet described that Shaul saying to Jonathan, listen, it's the second day of Rosh Chodesh. The first day, understand, David HaMelech, no, can be maybe impure, he need to clean himself. But the second day, David HaMelech should be with us. He always sit with us. He always come to Seudat Rosh Chodesh. How come that David HaMelech is not sitting with us in a Sauda? Where he disappear? Where is David HaMelech? Basically, what he's saying to Jonathan, David HaMelech is often with us in a Sauda. He's sitting right next to me. I understand the first day of Rosh Chodesh, maybe something happened that make them impure. Whatever the case is, he can't come. But today is the second day. Yesterday, just before the evening, he should cleanse himself and he can come and join us to eat the meat. So that Rosh Chodesh. Where is he? And verse 28 and 29, I'm going to read them together. We'll see what's happening. ויען יונתן את שאול, נשאל דוד מעמדי עד בית לחם, ויאמר שלחני נא כי זבח משפחה לנו בעיר, והוא ציווה לי אחי, ואתה אם מצאתי חן בעיניך, המלת נא ואראה את אחי, על כן לא בא אל שולחן המלך.
Jonathan answered Saul, David asked me for permission to go to Bethlehem. He said, please grant me leave, for we have a family feast offering in the city. And he, my brother, summoned me. So now, if I have found favor in your eyes, please let me be excused, that I may see my brothers. That is why he did not come to the king's table.
Basically, Shaul HaMelech approaching Yonatan, his son, he said, where is David HaMelech? Where is Ben David? Why David HaMelech is not with us in the Sauda? Yonatan saying to his father Shaul, David HaMelech approached me and he asked me a permission to go to Bethlehem to join his brother, because his older brother Eliab summons him to come to join them. for the sacrifice of Korban Rosh Chodesh that they used to sacrifice, and he wanted to be with his family, and therefore allowed him to go to Bethlehem. That's the pshat of the Dvarim. And now let's see what's happened after Shaul heard that answer. What was the reaction of Shaul? ויחר אף שאול ביונתן, ויאמר לו, בן נעבת המרדות, הלא ידעתי כי בוחר אתה לבן ישי, לבושתך ולבושת ערוות אמך.
Saul's anger flared up at Jonathan, and he said to him, son of a pervertly rebellious woman, do I not know that you choose a son of Jesse to your own shame and the shame of your mother's nakedness?
The prophet described in this verse that when Shaul heard what Jonathan told him, he basically lost it. He got so cross. He got so cross on Jonathan, and he said to him, I know that you're rebelling against me, and you're preferring David to be a king. That's pshat of the Dvarim. But he say here, Ben Na'avat HaMardut. Why did he say Ben Na'avat HaMardut? He said to him that the same like your mother prefer David HaMelech, so are you. You prefer David HaMelech than me, and also your sister. Here it doesn't mention, but he's saying to him that you, your mother, and your sister prefer David HaMelech than me. But listen what he said after that. לבושת, הוא say, כן, ולבושת ערוות אמך, the nakedness of your mother. What's happening here? Shaul HaMelech hurting the feeling of Jonathan. He actually pressing on a soft point of Jonathan, and he embarrassed him in public on that feast. Rabbeinu Yeshaya explained that he said to him that you're not going to be a king after me. Okay? That's mean, and people will say that the main reason that Jonathan didn't become a king, not because of me, because of your mother. Why? Because your mother's family not privileged enough. That means that your mother came from not privileged family. That's Rabbeinu Yeshaya. The Metzudot David explained like this. The same like your mother rebelled against me, also you rebelling against me, like we explained earlier. The Ralbag explained it differently. He said the same like your mother not deserve to be a queen, also you, Jonathan, you not deserve to be a king. Rashi HaKadosh explained it completely different. Rashi HaKadosh, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki, he born in the city of Troa 985 years ago. Rashi HaKadosh, going back many years back, we spoke about the story of Pilegesh Bagivah, the concubine that was with Shevet Binyamin, that they done a stupid thing, and they raped the woman, and that man, we explained that it can be Elkanah, that he took the body and he cut it 12 pieces and he gave it to the 12th tribe. The 11th tribe put the tribe of Binyamin isolated in harem. And they have a war. We explained that they lost many people, but then they make a harem that no one gonna marry, no one from the tribe of Binyamin, not man, not woman, no one allowed to take. But Hazal say, the Mefarshim explain and Rashi explain that in that generation the Sanhedrin saw that if they're going to continue with that harem, nothing going to left from the tribe of Binyamin. The tribe of Binyamin going to disappear. So what did they done? They allowed them to come. But the difference is that in Tu B'Av, they going to allow them to come, and whichever man want to get married, he's going to choose a woman, and if they agree, they can marry. What happened was a man by the name of Shaul, King Shaul, we refer. And Shaul was very shy. Although that he needed to get married, he couldn't approach the girl and ask her to marry him. That's called basically to kidnap a girl in their language, that to grab her, to take her to ask her. He was so shy, he couldn't ask her to marry him. When I say kidnapping, it's not physical kidnapping, it's like grabbing her and say, can I marry you? What happened? Shaul HaMelech was standing. All the girls find a man. Yonatan's mother that saw that Shaul HaMelech standing there, a nice looking man, tall, big, strong, and no one, he doesn't approach anyone. She asked him to marry her. Say Rashi HaKadosh that what Shaul HaMelech saying to David HaMelech, the same like your mother asked me to marry her. She wasn't shy because I was shy. You behaving like your mother with chutzpah. And that's how Shaul hurt the feeling of Yonatan, said the Mefarshim. And that's what it's come to tell you. That your mother, she grabbed me. I didn't grab her. She had the chutzpah to come and ask me to marry her. I was too shy because I couldn't. That's how Rashi HaKadosh explained. And now we can understand what it means, Ben Na'avat HaMardut, Leboshet Ervat Imcha, to nakedness of your mother. Not Has v'Shalom to say derogatory things about. It is a derogatory, but it wasn't like a bad derogatory about Yonatan's mother. Let's go to verse 31. Look what's happening there. כי כל הימים אשר בן ישי חי על האדמה, לא תיכון אתה ומלכותך, ואתה שלח וקח אותו אליי, כי בן מוות הוא.
For all the days that the son of Jesse is alive on the earth, you and your kingdom will not be established. And now, send and bring him to me, for he is deserving of death.
Here the prophet described that Shaul HaMelech said to Yonatan, listen, as long that David HaMelech is alive, you cannot be a king. You cannot be a king. You can never be a king as long that David HaMelech is alive. And I want you to understand, you've given a permission to David HaMelech to go to spend Rosh Chodesh with his family. It's your obligation to send your servant to bring him back, because you, the one that you allow them not to be in Rosh Chodesh, in Saudat Rosh Chodesh. And I want to tell you that David HaMelech deserved the punishment of death. So now, basically, Jonathan listening to what his father saying to him, and he start to realize how right David HaMelech was. Because Jonathan could not believe in that until that moment that his father want to kill David. Now that he said to him specifically that David HaMelech deserved the punishment of death, Jonathan realized that David HaMelech was right all the time, that he told him that his father want to kill him. In verse 32, ויען יונתן את שאול אביו, ויאמר אליו, למה יומת? מה עשה?
But Jonathan spoke up to his father Saul and said to him, why should he die? What has he done?
Here the prophet described that Shaul, after he said that to Jonathan, Jonathan looked at his father and said to him, listen, I don't understand what David HaMelech done to you and why should he die? What David HaMelech done to you that you want to kill him? What has he done? Basically said the Metzudot David, listen to that. By that it say, Lama Yamut, and what he done to you? Said the Metzudot David, Jonathan saying to his father, listen, he been anointed by the Almighty. Okay? He didn't rebel against you. David HaMelech had nothing against you. The Almighty anointed him as a king. So, what do you want? That was the question and the answer that Jonathan given to Shaul HaMelech. In verse 33, we'll see what's happened and we'll understand. ויטול שאול את לחנית, עליו להכותו. וידע יונתן כי קלה היא נעים אביו להמית את דוד.
Saul hurled his spear at him to strike him. Jonathan then realized that his father had decided to kill David.
Okay. The prophet tells us that he held a spear in his hand and he wanted to hit Jonathan. That means Shaul hold the spear and wanted to hit Jonathan. The Metzudot Zion. Metzudot David and Metzudot Zion is both been written by David Altshuler. Although I explained that he never finished, he died earlier, and his son Hillel finished the commentary. The Metzudot Zion say, no, Shaul threw the spear on Jonathan. He didn't just want to hit him. And what the prophet tried to tell us, that Jonathan knew that his father want to kill David. I tell you why. Said the Mefarshim that Jonathan realized that if his father so cross that he throw the spear on Jonathan, that means that that's it. He went 100% to kill David with no reason. Before you can say, listen, he had that, what do you call, anxiety, he was depression, all different excuse. But now Jonathan realized that his father threw the spear on him. Said Metzudot David, now I understand that 100% if he's willing to throw it on me, and he doesn't suffer from anxiety, depression, or melancholy, whatever you want to call it, that's a sign to me that David was right and he want to kill David Amelech. Let's go to verse 34 and look what it says here. ויקום יונתן מעם השולחן בחריה ולא אכל ביום החודש השני לחם כי נעצב אל דוד ככלימו אביו.
Jonathan arose from the table enraged. He did not partake of food on that second day of the month, for he was saddened over David, and because his father had humiliated him.
Okay. Basically, on the second day of Rosh Chodesh, that was the Seudah. The first day, Jonathan was, he eaten. The second day, David Amelech, Shaul Amelech, after his act, Jonathan stood up and left the feast. Jonathan didn't eat. Is different interpretation. Why? According to the Metzudot David, because Jonathan was worried about David Amelech. How are we going to give him the message quickly to run away? So he couldn't think about food. But the Mefarshim explain by that Jonathan stood up and left the meal, he didn't honor his father, and later on he'd been punished. Whatever punishment that was, that's how he died. We'll speak later on in a thing. The Radak, the Rabbi David Kimchi, he explained like this, and he said that, you know, what was the reason? What was the reason that Jonathan stood up and left the feast and didn't eat? Because Shaul threw the spear on him. Not only that, because he also been humiliated. Okay? That his father called him Ben Na'avat Mardut. That means that his father embarrassed him and embarrassed his mother, his wife, in front of all the people that was in Seudat Rosh Chodesh. That's why he didn't eat bread. In verse 35, the prophet described what's happening immediately after that. ויהי בבוקר, ויצא יונתן השדה למועד דוד, ונער קטון עמו.
It happened the next morning that Jonathan went out to the field for the meeting with David, and a young attendant was with him.
But it means a young attendant was with him. Why gone on the following morning to the field? Why not straight after the meal? We have to look at all of that. In this verse, the prophet tells us that on the third day, after Rosh Chodesh, Jonathan going to the field. Why Dafka to the field? You can say because that was the agreement between him and David to make the son, Nahon. Why didn't go on immediately? We'll explain. But what's happening? They used to have a custom, the king, the prince, that early morning they used to go to walk in the field to smell the fresh air and also to practice shooting bow and arrow. The Metzudot David explained like this. Nachon that the meeting between David HaMelech and Yonatan supposed to be immediately after the feast. But Yonatan, when he saw the reaction of his father, okay, that he wanted to kill David, whatever cause, he doesn't care about anything. He was worried that if he gonna go now to the field straight after he left the feast, his father gonna send spy after him. And if the spy gonna see that he meeting with David, he's gonna put his life and David's life in danger. That's how the Mitzudot David explained. And that's why he decided to go the following morning to the field. Mari Kara explained that Yonatan took with him, it's a Na'ar Katon. What it means, Na'ar Katon? That he took with him a young man. He didn't took his usual servant, he took someone else. Okay, when he going to shoot the arrow. That wasn't so experienced. Okay? That no one will be suspicious because they say if he going to speak to David, he wouldn't take no one with him. But Jonathan took him because he didn't have enough experience when he shoot the arrow, where to look. The usual servant before they ran, they used to watch plus minus where the arrow fall, and then they used to run after the arrow. He's saying that if he go by himself, they will be suspicious of him, of Jonathan. And if they see a meeting with David HaMelech, that can cause a lot of problem. So therefore, he took a young guy, that wouldn't also understand the sign. If there is something going to happen, he wouldn't understand what's happening between David HaMelech and Yonatan. That's how Mari Kara explained. In verse 36, what's the time? Wow. I want to finish it. In verse 36, ויאמר לנערו רוץ, מצא נא את החיצים אשר אנוכי מורה הנער, רץ, והוא ירה החצי לעברו.
He said to his attendant, "Please run and find the arrows that I shoot." The attendant ran, and he shot the arrow to go past him, beyond him.
Basically, what's happening here, sorry, I'm going to accelerate now because I don't want the time is running late. I want to finish this chapter. Jonathan said to his young man, listen, I'm going to shoot the arrow. I want you to run after them. And Shaul and Jonathan shot 2 arrows. Okay? While the first arrow, before he starts running, the second arrow, while he was running, so he wouldn't have a chance to see where the second arrow fall. In chapter 37, 38, ויבוא הנער עד המקום החצי אשר ירה יונתן, ויקרא יונתן אחרי הנער ויאמר, הלא החצי ממך והלאה. ויקרא יונתן אחרי הנער מהרה, חושה, אל תעמוד. וילקט נער יונתן את החצים, ויבוא אל אדוניו.
The attendant arrived at the place of the arrow that Jonathan had shot. And Jonathan called out after the attendant and said, "Is not the arrow beyond you?" Jonathan then called out after the attendant, "Quickly, hurry, do not stand still." Jonathan's attendant gathered the arrows and came to his master.
Basically, in these 2 verses, the prophet described that the young man ran towards where was the first sign. And Jonathan saying to him, listen, but the arrow is further. further from you. Please run forward to bring both of the arrow. And by that he shouted to him, that was a sign to David HaMelech that he was right and he need to escape. But the Mefarshim explained, but that he said to him, do it quickly and don't stand up. He hint to David HaMelech, David HaMelech, you have a mission now. You're on a mission. Okay? We now in verse 39, והנער לא ידע מאומה, אך יונתן ודוד ידעו את הדבר.
The attendant knew nothing. Only Jonathan and David understood the matter.
Basically, what the prophet's saying to us, the young attendant, the young boy, didn't understand what was the sign between David and Jonathan. He didn't understand the language by that Jonathan saying to the young boy, listen, hurry up, go bring the arrow, don't stand and wait. That means that here, Jonathan hinting to David HaMelech, don't waste time, David HaMelech, you need to run. In verse 40, look what it says, ויתן יונתן את כליו אל הנער אשר לו, ויאמר לו, לך הבא העיר.
Jonathan gave his equipment to his attendant and said to him, go, bring it to the city.
Here we see that Jonathan saying to the young man, listen, take my bow, take my arrow, and quickly go to the city and I'm coming straight after you. I'm going to be shortly after you. And that's what's happened. But the main reason is because Jonathan done it, that he can see David HaMelech. He can speak to David HaMelech for the last time before he escaped. And the boy that was so young didn't understand. He didn't know that he had to accompany Jonathan or not. So he listened to Jonathan. In verse 41, והנער בא ודוד קם מאצל הנגב, ויפול לאפיו ארצה וישתחו 3 פעמים, וישקו איש לרעהו, ויבכו איש את רעהו, עד דוד הגדיל.
The attendant went, and David stood up from near the south side of the stone. And he fell on his face to the ground and prostrated himself 3 times. Each man kissed the other, and they wept with one another, until David wept greatly.
What's happening here? Here we see that the prophet described that David HaMelech arise from his hiding place where he was hiding in the south of Even HaEzel. Okay, and David HaMelech, when he saw Jonathan, he bowed down 3 times to Jonathan to thank him that he saved in his life, that he stood on his word, that he told him the truth, that his father wanted to kill him. David HaMelech and Jonathan hugged each other, kissed each other, and they both cried. Why did they cry? Because now they have to separate. The Ralbag explained that David HaMelech cried because he was in such a great danger of Shaul that wanted to kill him. The Malbin explained that Jonathan and David immediately separated, okay, because they was worried that someone gonna see them. Another interpretation, because David HaMelech started to cry, and he was crying so loudly and crying so much, said the Malbin that maybe Jonathan was worried that maybe someone gonna hear David HaMelech crying, and will see David HaMelech and Jonathan together, That means that Yonatan knew where David HaMelech hiding. And that's going to put the life of Yonatan also in danger. And the last verse, ויאמר יונתן לדוד, לך לשלום, אשר נשבענו שנינו, אנחנו בשם אדוני לאמור, אדוני יהיה ביני ובינך, ובין זרעי ובין זרעך עד עולם.
Jonathan said to David, go to peace. What the two of us have sworn in the name of Hashem, saying, Hashem shall be a witness between me and you, and between my offspring and your offspring, it shall be forever.
In this verse, the prophet described that Yonatan saying to David HaMelech, listen, you better hurry up. But before you hurry up, I want you to remember the oaths that we given each other, one to each other, and the Almighty was with us. He is the witness. And the Almighty will be witness that the oaths that I took between you and me, between our descendants, gonna be forever. And that's how it ends chapter 20. Bezrat Hashem, after Pesach, we're gonna go to chapter 21.